This is the Little Moments Count radio podcast, created in partnership with community radio stations throughout Minnesota. Each episode, you'll hear interviews with early childhood experts on how to support the important brain development that takes place in the first 1,000 days of life, just through little moments every day. Learn more at littlemomentscount.org/podcast.
It's a good day to be Indigenous.
Get up, stand up.
They are going to become more brutal.
Because all the hippies were trying to be Indians anyway.
They're going to become more repressive because it's a matter of dollars and their illusionary concepts of power.
Hey, Victor.
We must live in balance with the earth.
And also with recent happenings at Wounded Knee.
I am awake. Welcome to Native Roots Radio Presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Wakanja Hade. Hey, Kadagi to all my friends and relatives in four directions. You are listening to Native Roots Radio Presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Robert Pilot. Hey, we discuss local, national, Native news and events, and as you know, Native issues are human issues, and human issues are Native issues. We're going to have Arvina Martin on later in the show today of Emerge Wisconsin, talking about some political things here, as we usually do with her, with Emerge Wisconsin. But I want to start off first right away that this episode of Native Roots Radio is presented in partnership with Minnesota Public Radio and Little Moments Count. Little Moments Count is a statewide collaborative focused on helping parents and caregivers learn about the importance of brain development in the first 3 years of life. For more information, you can visit littlemomentscount.org. And I am really excited to have our friend Barb Fabre on. And Barb is CEO of Indigenous Visioning and All Nations Rise. And she's an enrolled member of the White Earth Ojibwe Nation in Northwest Minnesota, and where she is residing. Always great to have you on. We have a lot to talk about, and you know, I just love talking about your Indigenous boxes too. We're going to have to get talk about that later on. But welcome, Barb. Great to see you.
Bonjour, welcome. I'm so excited to be here as always, and I think I learn just as much as you learn when we talk, because we just take it in so many different directions. But it always comes back to how to benefit children and families in our tribal communities. Absolutely.
Hey, you know, we have a topic today about Indigenous Parent Leadership Initiative, and that's IPLI, and it's expanding statewide. Let's talk a little bit about that. Can you give us a little overview about Indigenous Parent Leadership Initiative?
Sure. One of my favorite subjects to talk about. So a few years ago, while Indigenous Visioning entered a partnership with the National Parent Leadership Institute, and out of Connecticut, it's a curriculum that is owned by the state of Connecticut, and we wanted to bring their curriculum to a tribal community because I met many of the graduates and alumni, and it was amazing. And so I knew I wanted to bring it to tribal communities. And so through a grant by the state of Minnesota, a community solutions grant, we were able to do that. And we did that, let's see, 3 cohorts ago. So in 2002, I believe, 22, sorry.
Very cool.
Yeah.
What motivated your team to create this program? And other than the obvious, it's got to be a lot of work, but it's also got to be a good thing for our communities.
Well, yeah, we were super excited to bring this. But we knew we had to indigenize it. So when I came back to Minnesota with this information, I went and seen Dr. Anton Troyer, and he was excited about it too. And I asked him to help me create a cultural component for it. So, and, you know, it was really intriguing. And so we were so appreciative of our partnership with NPLI that they allowed us to indigenize it. And we were able to weave a cultural curriculum into braided with theirs. And so it's a 22-week free program for parents, free. The mission of the IPLI is to guide parents in becoming leading advocates for children, right? This initiative inspires parents, and I've met many of them, and we've witnessed it, to be empowered to use their voices to be a change agent, to be a role model, and just positive change within their own individual lives, which ripples into the children's lives and then eventually into the tribal community, their tribal community. So it's an amazing program. Mm-hmm.
That is amazing. And, you know, I maybe you can remind everybody, and I know and you know how important it is to include cultural aspects for our young ones. And, you know, we know that for generations, a lot of that's been lost, and it's coming back in gangbusters, I feel like, in the last decade or so, Barb.
Yes, I'm shaking my head. Yes. And it's exciting. Yeah, I know. So I thought I better share. Totally agree. It's, you know, and from early childhood on up, you know, we did it in childcare, and then Head Start does it, preschool, and then a lot of public and private and tribal schools are offering it K-12, and of course, tribal colleges and some university and state. So yeah, it is, it's exciting to see that. And so we know that culture is our protective factor, but it's also our healing factor. And so we knew that had to be a part of it. And from what we learned from the 3 cohorts, that's exactly what one of the best things they love about this curriculum is the cultural component.
Well, in your opinion too, those are unique strengths that our Indigenous parents and grandparents and caregivers bring to the communities, but also to the young ones that are in the community.
Oh yeah. So
she's shaking her head again.
Yes, I am. Sorry, habit.
No problem.
And I also talk with my hands, but nobody can see that but Robert. Yeah. I mean, if we're going to, you know, who are the children's first teachers are the parents. And so, you know, we spend a lot of funding on our teachers. You know, now we need to spend more on our parents and help them become, you know, their child's best advocate. So that's what this program is all about, basically.
Right. You know, you're empowering parents now, and that benefits the children and the wider community, correct?
Yes. Many of our graduates have gone, you know, they're on committees, they're using their voice through committee work. They're on, you know, local, state, national advisory boards, committees, and foundations. There's a few on the foundation, and they're just really empowered to use their voice. And the 22 weeks that they spend together, and they learn skills through the curriculum, and it's through a cultural lens, through the Indigenous cultural curriculum. And so, you know, it's very, and every graduate or every parent that comes, they have their own personal passion. So whatever that is. And, you know, and when they find that passion and they have these skills, then they know how to use them. And, you know, we've got some great examples of how parents, the cohort parent and alumni parents use their voice.
Well, let's talk about that in the next segment here. Hey, this is The episode is Native Roots Radio, presenting in partnership with Minnesota Public Radio, Little Moments Count, and we are with our friend Barb Fabre, and you are CEO of Indigenous Visioning and All Nations Rise, and we're going to be right back after this short break. Barb, ho!
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I'm Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan, and I want to be your next United States Senator, and you are listening to Native Roots Radio.
Welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot. Hey, welcome back, everyone. This is episode of Native Roots Radio is presented in partnership with Minnesota Public Radio and Little Moments Count. Little Moments Count is a statewide collaborative focused on helping parents and caregivers learn about the importance of brain development in the first 3 years of life. And I'm here with Barb Fabre, and we're talking about a little about Indigenous Parent Leadership Initiative and all the great things that are happening. How does this, welcome back, Barb, and how does this program grow and expand? Are there avenues that you're working on or that are coming about here soon?
Yes. So we are really excited that the state of Minnesota is offering an RFP coming up in the late 2025, early 2026 for 4 tribal nations, our tribal organizations to apply to become an IPLI site. And we will be providing technical assistance and coaching to those 4 tribes. So we're really excited about that as we gear up for our 4th cohort this fall.
Wow, that's amazing. And you're expanding. And how is some of the funding coming? I know you talk about the state, but there's other foundations that are supporting your work, correct?
Yes, we actually have a few national partners, and that funding is going to help us support capacity building by expanding to the other 4 sites, and then as well as helping our alumni with professional development. We have one foundation that is supporting our alumni work, and our current funding, more recent funding, I should say, we got that to expand statewide and even outside of Minnesota. So we're kind of piloting it here in Minnesota and working with the National Parent Leadership Institute on that. And so we're really excited and appreciative of the funding. And again, this, what people are excited about is because they also met the graduates. They are the shining stars of this program. And they can speak for themselves on how it has affected their life. And so we're putting together a little tape, a little
video
story, kind of. Yeah, we don't know what quite it'll look like, but we're really excited that it's. We're just in the talking stages of what that is, how long it is. It probably end up on YouTube, but we'll definitely share that out when that's ready.
Well, that's awesome. How does Indigenous Visioning support these new IPLI sites with coaching and technical assistance? Or tell us a little bit about that. And then there's also a 8-week program for families that with open or active cases. Can you explain a little bit about that too?
Sure. So the 22-week program is for parents who are, in stable housing, or people who have maybe been sober, a year, are stable for a year, and over 18 is the requirement is all. So that one, is 22 weeks, and it's a big commitment. And those so those are for communities. That is what the 4 sites in Minnesota that we'll be giving TA to. And the TA that we'll be providing is just to help them get started. We're working out all the details with IPLI right now, so I don't have all the details, but they'll become a site just like we did, and then we'll help the TA and coaching that I will be doing on the Indigenous Foundations curriculum, how to create their own, how to work in tribal communities on creating their civic design team. And so, yeah, there's a lot of groundwork, and that's what we're going to be helping with. And so they'll be following that. The 8-week program is we're looking to pilot that, and that is for families who still have an open case and are unable to commit to the 22-week. So it'll be maybe like a teaser of the 22-week, and hopefully a feeder program into the 22-week. And so we're hoping that these 4 sites, continue on, and each cohort you're building out a larger group of IPLI superstars.
Yeah, that's no doubt. And I think we've been talking for like 3 years, you and I, on and off, haven't we?
Yes.
And just the growth and the things that you're doing, with Indigenous Visions is just amazing. And I can feel it across the airwaves here, your sincerity and how you are there for the community. It's been great to watch this grow and change. And I want to just before I get into my question about Indigenous boxes, because I'm always curious about those, I would really love for you to in the next couple minutes talk about what you'd like to talk about with this great collaboration you have going on, and all this great work that's going on.
Yeah, it really took on a life of its own, and in a good way, and that's because a lot of dedicated All Nations Rise staff and board, and our partners that are, wanting this work to happen because they witnessed it like we did. And so, we're excited for each of the tribal communities and how it'll look. And ours looked our way, but as you know, all tribes are different, beautiful, unique. And so every tribe will make it their own. And we will just be there to guide them, and however that is, because it is for the community, by the community. So, the community leads it, and that civic design team, they help lead it. It's an advisory board that kind of helps guide the work. So yeah, it's really exciting, and I'm really excited that we're a part of it, and working with the state and our foundations partners. I'm excited to see where this is going, and for other communities to witness it and hear from their own cohorts.
Right. Well, the gratitude that you must feel with all the people being on one page and working for this goal must be just tremendous feeling of the work that you're doing. One of the things I wanted to ask you too, before I start grilling you about those boxes.
I was going to say, not without a few hurdles, but we're keep focused. Just keep focused.
Well, yeah. What is? Tell me a little bit about the importance of evaluation and best practices, because I know as a former teacher, for me that's a huge statement.
Right. Well, if we want programs to be able to use this and sustain it, they need to be able to use it with their state or federal funds, or their private funds. And so, and those are usually require evidence-based. Well, in Indian country and tribal communities, we know how well that works. We're not there yet. And so, we're trying to be very respectful. A lot of tribes now have their own internal review board, their IRBs. So anytime something comes into the community from an outside agency that wants to do something inside, the beauty of this is it's the community doing it for themselves. We're just the guides in the process. So it's the community creating it, and we're just guides again. So, it is really going to, I think, take tribal communities to another level. And we're just really anxious and excited to see the results.
Wow. Barb Fabre is the CEO of Indigenous Visioning and All Nations Rise. Thank you so much for your check-in here, as always, with this episode of Little Moments Count, which is a partnership of Minnesota Public Radio. And we didn't have enough time, but I'm still waiting for one of those Indigenous boxes to show up to my house.
Oh, that's right. It's in the mail. It's in the mail, I promise.
Right on. We'll see you next time. Thank you so much.
All right, take care.
Hey, we're still here. We are the 7th generation. We will see you tomorrow. Native Roots Radio signing off.
Thanks for listening to the Little Moments Count radio podcast in partnership with community radio stations throughout Minnesota. You can find the Little Moments Count radio podcast wherever you get your podcasts and at littlemomentscount.org/podcast.